So we have a woke third grade teacher out in California, no surprise, trying to push what I consider and what many consider progressive ideology on 8-year-olds. Why do 8-year-olds need to learn about critical race theory? They're always trying to indoctrinate the youth at the youngest age they can with their ideology. And we know that it is a left-leaning ideology. It is a theory, not a fact. It has some facts within it, but I've always personally disagreed with what critical race theory pushes because I believe it to be divisive. I believe that it leads people to come to a false dichotomy as far as their perception of the world. You will perceive the world as the oppressed versus the oppressor. And that is not accurate to life in my belief. That is an oversimplification. That's why I've always been against things like critical race theory, because this, of course, goes into privileges, power and privileges. And depending on the context, one particular group or one particular feature of a person may be beneficial or it may be detrimental. It all depends on the context. And that is what is overlooked in critical race theory. The context. For example, sometimes being an older man will benefit you depending on the context, and sometimes being a younger man would benefit you depending on the context. That is what is always missing with these theories. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the Blaze article that spoke about this. So, according to the Blaze report, California elementary school instructs third graders to rank themselves based on their power and privilege. So we're talking about elementary school age children here. Report goes on to state, third graders are being taught critical race theory. They were basically teaching racism to my 8-year-old. And that's in quotes, so that's likely what a parent stated. So the article goes on to state that a teacher at an elementary school in Cupertino allegedly instructed, that's in California, never been there myself, instructed third graders to rank themselves based on their power and privilege during a math lesson. So instead of being focused on the topic at hand, you guys are talking about power and privilege during a math lesson. You see, in critical race theory, I believe this is something that if someone wants to learn about this stuff, they should learn about this stuff on their free time. There is no need, in my opinion, to make this part of any sort of academic curriculum. There's no point in it. There's no point in it. We have a lot of filler when it comes to school, and this is pushing progressive ideology. So if someone wants to be a progressive, they go ahead and do that on their own time. And the same thing is fair to say that when it comes to a more conservative ideology. You go do that on your own time. Stop pushing this on children that are not yours. That's always been my stance. Goes on to state that a third grade teacher at the R.I. Mayor Holz Elementary School told the 8 and 9-year-old students that they live in a dominant culture of white, middle-class, cisgendered, educated, able-bodied Christians who created and maintained this culture in order to hold power and stay in power. Article goes on to state that students learned that those with privilege have power over others, and that folks who do not benefit from their social identities, who are in a subordinate culture, have little to no privilege and power, which I've already told you guys why I disagree with that, because it depends on the context. Sometimes being this particular group will help in certain contexts, and in other contexts it won't. It all depends. Context always matters. And as an example, the reading states A white cisgendered who is able-bodied heterosexual considered handsome and speaks English has more privilege than a black transgender woman. Depends on the context. That's what I would always say. Depends on the context. As far as privilege is concerned, I've spoken about this previously. There's many privileges that go unspoken about as well. And there are privileges that the majority of people benefit from, and that is why there's no focus on it, but it is also a reality. Such as having two working legs privilege. That's an example that I've always used, because some people are in a wheelchair, some people are not. So I am not against the idea of privileges existing, but I am against what they are pushing on 8-year-olds. All of this stuff, what does any of this have to do with the math lesson? That's my point. If you want to learn about this kind of stuff, learn about it in your free time outside of school if you want to. But this sort of thing, it's not going to benefit you in life, in my belief. If anything, this type of stuff typically encourages victimhood mindsets, defeatist mindsets, which are not beneficial to you as an individual. But that is my personal take on it. Article goes on to state, so this person, Christopher Rufo, that is he is an editor with City Journal. He went on to state that he spoke to some of the parents of the children who were being taught critical race theory. A parent who grew up in China compared critical race theory to the Chinese Cultural Revolution, where the parent went on to state that it divides society between the oppressor and the oppressed, which is what I said. And since these identities are inborn characteristics people cannot change, the only way to change it is via violent revolution, the parent said. Growing up in China, I learned it many times. The outcome is the family will be ripped apart, husband hates wife, children hate parents. I think it is already happening here. I think that it's divisive myself. I think that it's divisive. It is a oppressed versus oppressor type of thing, and the progressives, they're known to speaking out against generalizations, but also known for generalizing all the time. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that a progressive person, a person that labels themselves as progressive, they'll speak out, oh, generalizing is wrong, it's wrong, and then they'll go on to generalize. And the article ends with stating that the parents who were against the woke lesson plans reportedly met with the school's administration. The administration agreed to suspend the program, so the program was suspended. So they're not teaching that at this school anymore. The report stated, when reached for comment, Jen Lashier, the principal of Mayor Holes Elementary, said that the training was not part of the formal curricula, but the process of daily learning facilitated by a certified teacher. Yeah, so teaching whatever they want to teach. Pretty much. That's what the principal said. But I am curious what you guys think about critical race theory and just the fact that progressivism is really pushed onto the youth. And it's no surprise to me that with everything that is being pushed on people, as far as mainstream society is concerned, when it comes to public schools, when it comes to mainstream television, Hollywood, movies, TV, mainstream culture really pushes progressive ideology onto people. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Make sure you hit the like, share, subscribe button.